The story of Joel Embiid is one of greatness, heartbreak, and maybe the biggest what-if in NBA history.
One game on the lost side, behind Boston.
Oh, Embiid! Wow, what a play by Joel Embiid!
And a foul! Joel Embiid!
For years, fans believed Embiid could be the man to bring a championship to Philadelphia. He was the MVP, the franchise cornerstone, the player built like a modern-day giant who could dominate on both ends of the floor. But after years of injuries, surgeries, and missed games, it feels like the story has already been written. And the ending? It's not the fairy tale Sixers fans dreamed of. It's a nightmare. When Joel Embiid first entered the NBA, fans called him the process. Philadelphia had spent years losing games on purpose, stacking draft picks, and betting everything on the future. Embiid was that future. He was a 7-foot center who could score like a guard, rebound like a beast, and defend the rim better than almost anyone. At his best, Embiid was unstoppable. He bullied defenders in the post, knocked down jumpers, and controlled the paint. In 2023, he won the league's MVP award. That was supposed to be the start of a dynasty. Sixers fans thought the years of pain were finally over, but instead of building a future, the team was already building a hospital ward. Paul George joins the party. The Sixers thought they found the missing piece in 2024. They signed Paul George to a massive $212 million deal, pairing him with Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. On paper, it looked perfect. A big three built to dominate. Embiid's inside power, Maxey's speed, and George's all-around scoring and defense. For a moment, Philadelphia believed. The heartbreaks of the Ben Simmons drama, James Harden's trade demands, and years of playoff failures didn't matter anymore. The Sixers finally had their shot at a championship, but fate had other plans. Injuries take over. October 2024, in a meaningless preseason game, Paul George's knee buckled. The injury seemed small, but it was the start of a nightmare. He hurt the same knee again just weeks later. Then came the finger issue, the groin problem, and finally injections in both his knee and groin that ended his season. George played only 41 games in his first year as a Sixer, the worst output since his rookie year back in 2011. Philadelphia paid him almost $1.2 million per game and got mediocre results. And while George was falling apart, Embiid's story took an even darker turn. Embiid's body betrays him. Embiid has always carried the label injury-prone, but by 2024 to 2025, that label turned into a reality that could not be ignored. He played only 19 games out of 82. He had knee surgery in February 2024. Then again in April 2025, another procedure on the same knee. 2 surgeries, 14 months, same knee. Doctors started to sound the alarms. One compared his condition to Kawhi Leonard, whose career has been cut short by load management. Another compared him to Yao Ming, a dominant center whose body broke down and forced him to retire too soon. Embiid, the man who was supposed to lead the Sixers to glory, was becoming a medical mystery. He had missed more than 400 games in his career, almost 5 full seasons. He was only 30 years old, but his body looked much older. A financial disaster. Basketball is a game, but the NBA is also a business, and the Sixers made one of the worst business bets in history. Embiid signed a 3-year, $193 million extension, which will pay him $67 million at age 35, with bad knees. Paul George's deal guarantees him over $200 million. Tyrese Maxey's extension locks in $24 million more. Together, the Sixers' big three took up 96.5% of the salary cap. That left little room for other talent. And the luxury tax bills? Projected to hit $75 to $100 million per year. In short, the Sixers weren't just losing on the court. They were paying record amounts of money for the privilege of losing. Locker room cracks. Money and injuries weren't the only problems. The locker room began to fall apart too. In November 2024, veteran Kyle Lowry called a players-only meeting. That's when young Tyrese Maxey did something bold. He called out Embiid. He told him he was late to everything: meetings, practices, flights. Maxey wasn't trying to embarrass him, he wanted to save the season. But then the story leaked. Suddenly the whole world knew about Embiid's tardiness. Speculation grew that Paul George, who runs his own podcast, was the one who leaked it. Trust in the locker room collapsed. Embiid vowed never to attend another team meeting. The team chemistry was broken beyond repair. Embiid snaps. Then came another low point. A Philadelphia columnist wrote a piece criticizing Embiid. The problem? He crossed the line by mentioning Embiid's deceased brother. After a loss, Embiid confronted him in the locker room, shoving him and threatening him. The NBA suspended him 3 games, but Embiid didn't back down. He said he would do it again if someone disrespected his family. It showed his passion, but also his breaking point. The weight of injuries, pressure, and criticism was crushing him. The numbers don't lie. The Sixers finished the 2024-25 season with a 24-58 record. Their worst since the process years. They missed the playoffs for the first time since the Ben Simmons era. The Embiid-George Maxey Big Three, they played only 15 games together, less than 300 minutes total. That's what $135 million bought them. The Sixers used 53 different starting lineups, more than 1 per game. Head coach Nick Nurse admitted he spent more time managing injuries than actually coaching basketball. It was a disaster on every level, a glimpse of hope. Still, the story isn't all doom and gloom. Tyrese Maxey has blossomed into a star, averaging over 26 points per game. His leadership, work ethic, and growth give the Sixers something to believe in. Rookie Jared McCain showed flashes of brilliance before his injury, and the 2025 draft brought in VJ Edgecombe, a talented young player in the mold of Paul George. The future may belong to them, but it won't belong to Embiid. Why the story ends here? Joel Embiid will go down as one of the greatest what-if stories in NBA history. What if he had stayed healthy? What if his knees hadn't betrayed him? What if he had the chance to play full seasons during his prime? Instead, the Sixers are left with broken dreams, empty promises, and hundreds of millions tied to players who can't stay on the court. Embiid's legacy is complicated. He was brilliant, dominant, and beloved when he played, but he was also fragile, absent, and too often unavailable when it mattered most. And now, with surgery stacking up, contracts ballooning, and trust collapsing, the story feels finished. Not because Embiid isn't talented, but because his body has written the ending for him. The story of Joel Embiid isn't one of failure, it's one of limits. It's proof that even the strongest giants can fall, that money can't buy health, and that sometimes the story doesn't end with a championship parade. For Philadelphia, the future now belongs to Maxey, McCain, and Edgecombe. For Joel Embiid, the story that once looked like a fairy tale has reached its final chapter. The story ends here.